I really wanted to sit down with you today and have a very real conversation as something that I know that I've struggled with as I've been growing my business over the last 4 years. And it's this feeling or this mindset or this understanding that we don't, as we grow, we can't stop or take a break or take a rest because we'll lose momentum, but also alongside that, our business is going to fall apart and break if we stop under any circumstances. Now, the reality of this perspective is not only is it not true in any regard, but it's also really damaging to both your mental, physical health and can really impact your relationships. And I know that for me, it had done when I first started my business, it really affected the relationships that I had with my family, where I was working on things like Christmas Day and Boxing Day. They didn't understand why I was doing it and why I would skip out on family time to answer emails or send out a campaign. And then I didn't understand why they didn't see how I was trying to get ahead and keep pushing forward and keep progressing. So the reality is that I've burnt out quite a lot of times because I've not known when to stop, and this feeling that you've got to keep running at 100 million miles an hour. And I know that speaking to other founders that are ambitious, you've got lofty goals, but you also have a lot of commitments that you're looking to juggle, that you are juggling, whether that's that you've got a family and you really want to spend time with them, or you're at an age, like they all say, where everyone's getting married and you've got hen parties or bachelorette parties and weddings. And I live in Andorra and most of my family and friends live in the UK. And and my clients live in the UK primarily. So there's a very different thing where I'm having to travel quite a lot to be able to see them, especially if I can relate this back to the last 2 months of my life have been so busy with personal commitments. It's been a challenge, but also I've learned so much in how to balance both that personal life and business life and still have the business keep growing and building momentum and allow me to have some time off in the process. So it probably feels like a lot. And I want to challenge you and tell you now, the spoiler of this video is that you can have that time off and still continue growing the business. The reality is what that looks like to you is going to be very personal, whether that's a month off, whether that's a week off, whether that's 30 minutes off, whatever that time looks like, it might be completely different, but you can take it. Over the last 2 months, there have been periods where I'm just going to take my laptop so that I can do this, or just in case my clients need me, I won't put my out of office on. I'm going to spend this part of the morning working and this part resting. And then that never happens and I end up working the entire day, or I'm late for family occasions because a meeting overrun, or I've put too much on my plate that day and I've launched a campaign or brought on 2 more clients during a time where I've got loads of engagements and I can't seem to manage it all. And I'm running from one place to another. The reality is that it's very fast paced, which I absolutely love. But I often burn out trying to manage it all when that's not the reality of what I'm able to do. What this has meant for me over the years is that in the process, I've burnt out. I've had stress, headaches and anxiety and problems as I've woken up first thing in the morning or throughout the day. I've not had very healthy eating habits. I've skipped workouts when I've really wanted to. I've not been able to see friends and damaged relationships like I'd mentioned before. And I've not been the best version of myself when doing so. That nauseating anxiety, guilty feeling where you're not quite doing enough isn't particularly a nice place to be, but also I just felt like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to show up online because my head was in so many different places. Actually, I didn't produce the best quality work for myself or my clients that I believe I possibly could because I didn't have enough time and focus in those areas. And over the last 2 months, I really took the time to understand what I wanted this period to look like, where I knew it was going to be busy. I knew in advance what commitments I had. And there were some very real things that I was able, like what that I put into place, which I'll jump into. But what I think the big shift was for me was that when I took that time out, when I gave myself the opportunity to rest, schedule the priorities in, get the work done, have deep focus time, support my clients, spend time with family, I came out of it feeling so much more positive. My relationships with my clients didn't diminish. The business didn't crumble. Money still came in. Nobody left. There wasn't fires that kept exploding all around me. And apologies, this might happen. I think during that process, I initially thought that everything was going to bend or break when I wasn't there. And that wasn't the case. And not being on 24/7 actually gave me the opportunity to find new creativity, inspiration, ideas, and show up to my business, but also be very present with the personal commitments that I wanted to. So like I said, this past 2 months have been absolutely freaking manic. Like really, I've been in 4 different countries at weddings, hen parties, client strategy days, running events. There's a couple of things that I did to make sure that I didn't feel overwhelmed. And it didn't always pan out. I just want to caveat that, and it's not always perfect. And I've taken a lot of learnings throughout this period as well. But one thing I did in advance was I knew about all of this stuff that was going to go on in end of last year, beginning of January. So what I did was I looked at my calendar at that point and I started blocking out time. And anyone that knows me or knows what I talk about in terms of structure and time management, my calendar is absolutely sacred to me. And if there's something that's not in it, it doesn't get done. And I don't know if you're the same, and that's really important to you. However you'd like to structure your day or week or month, but actually giving yourself a proactive look at what's going to happen over that period and when you're going to be around, when you're going to be available, you can start to look at, do I need to bring on clients during this time, or do I need to actively not market as much and just keep content consistently nurturing so that I can then pick this back up when I get back? You can actually start to block out travel points and downtime and focus time so that you give yourself that opportunity now that you know what's going on, you know what projects you're going to be embarking on then, you know what you're going to be engaging in, and you can actually be really strategic with, is this a beginning phase with clients versus me having to be on all the time and them having to be on all the time. Another really practical thing that I did was communicate to my clients early. So was really open and honest about what was going to happen and when, how they could reach me, when the best time was to contact, if something happened in emergency, what would be the action, where in the phase of the journey that we were, so that they knew while I was away, these were the actions that I was doing, and then what actions that they were doing if they didn't hear from me for a week and a half or something like that. I understood not just for my clients what the top priorities were, but what my priorities were. So over that period, I knew that I wasn't going to have that much time realistically in my day to be able to get everything done. So I broke down all the goals or tasks and activities that I needed to do over that period and literally broke it down into 3 top priorities. And if there was only 3 things that I could actually complete over this period, what do those need to be for myself? And then what do those need to be for my clients? And I think for my clients, there's only one real priority that I would give over that time. When you're taking time off, you don't want to be doing anything for clients, but it might be a period that you do, and that's important to you, and that's how you see your time off. So it would more be the sense that if you're looking for that rest and relaxation, then actually being really clear on what those priorities are will help you be able to feel that you know that if anything else, at least these things get done. And finally, I think the last thing that I would recommend and what I did was I actually gave myself the permission that, and I accepted that it's not always going to go right. It was going to be a slightly more challenging time where I would be thinking about a lot of different things, especially when you're a bridesmaid and it's your birthday and you're organising it and you've got all of the projects that you've got going on with your clients and it's your business that you're running at the same time. or 2 businesses that you're running at the same time, then you've got a hell of a lot to think about. If you're able to give yourself that permission, and that's something that was probably one of the biggest things for me, is giving myself the permission to shut off and actually say, I don't need to have my computer with me. I don't need to be on all the time. And actually, it's not helping me, because I know that in those circumstances, I end up getting stretched, overwhelmed. And the guilt didn't really go, but I would say I felt a hell of a lot lighter, and I found that I started to enjoy the time that I had with family and the time I had to myself. And it felt a hell of a lot more creative and inspirational, and I actually wanted to do it again. So maybe not to like balancing so many things, but actually gave me the permission to want to have time off, to actually live my life. What can you do now to take away, to reflect? If you feel that you've got a really busy period coming up with personal commitments that are going to pull you away from work, or that you've got some time off booked and you're worried that you're not actually going to be able to enjoy that time off because work's so busy and it's building in momentum, look at what clients you've got coming in your pipeline, or clients that you're working with, and what phases of your projects or retainers that you'll be in during that time. Have a look at your calendar. What can you plan in advance? Let your clients know now, or early enough, maybe it's a month before, maybe it's 2 months before, that you're going to be taking this time and you won't be reachable about that at that time. However, there might be a key contact, a team member, someone that can support and actually field client questions and inquiries and still be working so that you don't have to. And then alongside that, it's just giving yourself that permission that it's okay to take a break once in a while, because I guarantee you that nobody, and absolutely nobody, can keep operating at such a high performance 24/7. It's not sustainable and will generally lead to burnout and health issues, mental health issues, physical health issues, and in my regard, a poor diet, headaches, and a lot of really negative feelings about myself, my business, my momentum, and then a general procrastination to actually do anything else. When you start to give yourself that permission, you start to give yourself that time, there is so much more you're able to create, enjoy, and understand. And if you're someone that's like, I've got this period and I literally cannot think about taking any time off, I have to take my laptop, I have to do this, I can't delegate, I can't let go, reach out to me. I'll drop a link in the description so that you can book a call with me and we can chat about it. This is a huge part of the intensives that I offer, is actually working with founders to get to the bottom of some of those immediate issues that they have and being able to solve those so that they can feel more confident. We look at different areas of their customer experience, but if it's just their journey and their internal operations for themselves as a founder, then reach out. That's something I can definitely support you with, in helping you be able to feel a lot more confident and calm when it comes to taking some time on or out your business, so that you can see it continue to grow without you being at the helm 24/7.